wherever it is you're joining us from around the world. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry Ligwebike. We'll be starting with our newspapers this morning, and right after that will be in conversation also for today. Please do well to be part of what we do. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. I have with me Emeka Madunago, journalist, public affairs analyst, to see through all that we have from our newspapers. Good morning to you, Emeka.
Yes, my pleasure. Good morning.
Thank you. All right, so let's start off with the Guardian newspaper for today. And our major talking point here, consumer groan as data depletion, exploitation complicate telcos tariff hike. That is on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Emeka, 35% already has been agreed between consumers and telcos, and equally with the government. And one would expect that with the increase of tariff, there would be sufficient amount of service provision for consumers. But of course, it is not there. Rather, consumers are complaining that their data has been sapped away from the same telcos that had provided that for them.
Well, it's very sad that it's something that appears to be a mainly Nigerian thing. Exploiting consumers, exploiting subscribers. And it's a sad thing that after raising tariffs, subscribers are still being ripped off. I wonder what kind of, how anyone can justify such a daylight robbery. It is such that some subscribers who are tech savvy have been able to have printed out records of how these telcos sapped their data. And you ask yourself, why is it that Nigerians have this proclivity for cheating? Barefaced cheating. Why? Whether big, whether small, across every sector. And yet, we are one of the most religious nations on earth. What exactly are we missing? How come we are so inclined to engaging in inordinate practices? Because we want to rip off Nigerians. We want to extort extra money from the same Nigerians who patronize us. I think something is definitely wrong. Something is definitely wrong. And things need to be looked into concerning that. The NCC and the FCCPC need to look into it.
Very, very true. They need to look into it. But do you think something will be done to ensuring that that would stop in any way in the country? Knowing that Nigeria is that one country where people do not take anything serious, especially government of the day. As much as Nigerians would complain, they would not want to take things seriously. Do you think this time the NCC will do something about it if they can?
Well, I hope the NCC does so, because there have been instances in recent past where the NCC had to actually step in to deal with such things. But also, I'll also advise Nigerians that they should be tech savvy. Nigerians should be tech savvy. Check your phone to see if there are, apps that suck your data, to see if there are apps that roll over other apps, and thereby take your data. If there are apps you don't need, just either you put them to deep sleep or you just uninstall them. Then in terms of making calls, maybe we need to go back to those days when call rates were calculated in minutes. So you remember, I still find myself doing that thing. It's per second billing we have.
Yes.
Now, but don't minute billing. When you are talked for a few minutes, you look at how many seconds had gone. So when it started getting to 40, 40, 45, you begin to, try to round up the conversation. Then by 50, 52, you already concluded. Then by 55, or at the most 57, you had cut off the conversation. So maybe Nigerians need to go back to that
but
to
that
ensure that
very
nobody
bad.
cheats them.
That's like 2 steps forward and 10 steps backwards, if you ask me.
Well, it doesn't matter to me. It's about purchasing. The purchasing power has gone down, so we have to survive. Like I was telling somebody yesterday, that you got to learn to play the politics of life, politics of survival from day to day, politics of choice, politics of affiliation. So you have to know how to play your politics well in life. Because nobody gives a hoot. Whether you sink or you swim. So, I mean, now that we have devices, you can use your earpiece. You can use your earpiece to, to receive calls. So, while you're making a call, and actually, doctors even advise that you should not put a phone to your ear. So, while you're making a call, if of course, there are doctors who say you should not use the AirPods. So maybe you got to get an earpiece, with a cord, with cord. So when you do that, you hold your phone in your hands and you'll be watching. You'll be watching how your airtime is moving. Of course, it's to save your money. That's all. Let's stop pretending that we are rich, in a country whose economy is in need of serious help.
Very, very true. Also, let's look at what's happening from the Punch newspaper for today. We have on the top strip here, impeachment threat. Fubara vows to fight on as PDP wants Wike's men. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And right now, what it seemed to us like we have gone past the Niger Delta militants from Port Harcourt are threatening to resume bombing of our pipelines if the issue in Rivers State continues. Of course, that could be a threat on Wike if he does continue all the things that he is doing. So speak to us. What do you think we would see in the next couple of weeks and possibly months with regards to the House of Assembly, Rivers State House of Assembly members and Semenalaye Fubara?
Well, there have been rumors here and there about the fact that Governor Sim Fubara sent a delegation to meet with Wike in Italy, and then, of course, last night, on a Monday night, Wike and Fubara were at the breaking of fast by President Bola Tinubu at the State House, the iftar. So, and then there were speculations that they will meet privately with the president. Because there are speculations too that the basic issue is the president, not Wike. That Wike is just a tool being used by the presidency.
Really? Against Esim?
Yeah, that the presidency has actually taken advantage of the situation. When two brothers fight, strangers will help them to destroy each other. So, in the political arena in Nigeria, two brothers from a state are fighting. Of course, what do you expect the presidency to do? They will take advantage of it. Because what it means is that both of you will now make peace based on their terms. It may be a secret peace, an uncomfortable peace. But what it means is that one side will not have the advantage over the other side. And that's why I say the 27 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly who are behaving like, they have caught one big prize should be very careful. Should be very careful. Because history, the problem with man is that man does not learn from history. And so history often repeats itself. They should know that when you look back to the Second Republic, when members of the National Party of Nigeria impeached Governor Barabe Musa of Old Kaduna State, because of the nomination of commissioners, they were said to have been, each of them was said to have been given, was it 40,000 or so at that time. Now, fast forward to today, where are those lawmakers? Nobody remembers any of them. Barabe Musa continued with activism until he passed on. But those members of the House of Assembly in Old Kaduna State, where are they? Nobody remembers them. They were just used by the NPN to remove Barabe Musa, who was of the People's Liberation Party. And that was all. They were just a pretext, and that was all. So let people always remember, don't fight to die. Fight to reconcile. They are now quoting Supreme Court judgment, forgetting that the Supreme Court can actually reverse itself. You don't jump about like, people who are novices. Is it not this in Nigeria with all the, the betrayals and all that? I tell you that President Bola Tinubu can actually turn around tomorrow and disown them. Wike can actually disown them. So when they are talking about impeaching Fubara and all of that, Supreme Court, I just tell them, listen, don't push your luck too far. The same advice I'll give to Governor Fubara. Reach out. The issue is about dialogue. Try to build consensus. And then the lawmakers should stop threatening Governor Fubara with impeachment. They are not the ones that elected him. It is an affront and an insult on the people of Rivers State. For just 27 people out of the 5 million people, population of Rivers State, to be threatening to impeach a governor who was popularly elected by the people of Rivers State is an insult. And the fact that we have judicial rascality, what I will call, without apology, judicial rascality, with courts these days, making certain declarations that are so embarrassing, and have put our democracy under threat of collapse. We must be very mindful. We must be very careful to make sure that this doesn't happen.
All right. So, yes, from that particular story, there is another story, a developing one, coming from the Punch newspaper on the bottom strip here, and that's on page. It's on page 4 and 6. APC Council chairmanship aspirant hacked to death in Lagos. Don't you think it's disturbing? From the Obasa issue that we had, was very trendy. And right now, the same APC are killing themselves. How would it sound, really, that an aspirant, a chairmanship aspirant, is being killed? Obviously not from the opposition, it's an internal thing. So where do you see the APC right now in Lagos State, which of course is the home state of the president?
Honestly, when I see people printing and pasting posters for local government chairman, I just wonder, for those who are in the opposition parties, haven't they seen how local government elections have been turned into local government coronation? It's a coronation. It's the ruling party in the states that produces the chairman and councillors of the local governments in their states. So, for people going to hack a councillorship aspirant to death, APC, for what? Lagos State. It's not as if, the primaries for all these positions are actually democratically contested. Oftentimes, you find out that, godfathers, powerful forces, have already compiled their names of their chosen candidates, So it's just a matter of Baba has spoken. These are the people Baba wants, and that's all. So why kill somebody because there were indications that person was going to will be the candidate? Okay, after killing him, will that solve your problems in life? It's part of what we're talking about, fundamental electoral reforms. Electoral violence needs to be dealt with. The people involved in such should actually face the death penalty or life imprisonment. You see, until we begin to institute stiff punishment for electoral offenses, people will just continue with their business as usual. And we will not be helping ourselves when we pretend as if it's nothing. This is a councillorship aspirant, a man with a family that has been killed, right? That has been killed. For what? Even if he had lived on and got into office, maybe 4 years, maybe 8 years, is there any reason to kill him? I think Nigerian politics, there's so much at stake in Nigerian politics. So much. Everybody wants to go there to loot. Everybody wants to take their own turn. And that is why our democracy is not democratizing. Our politics is not progressing. And it's sad. It's unfortunate.
Very, very so unfortunate.
It stands condemned, and I offer my condolences to the family of the deceased.
Very, very well. It's unfortunate, actually, that in Nigeria we have made politics more like a career. Every young boy and girl who finishes from the university or from any tertiary institution desires to be a politician rather than face what he has gone to read in school, because of course it's only the politicians in this economy that can smile to the bank and of course smile to their families and their cronies. Very unfortunate, Emeka. But let's take a look at Vanguard just before we leave for today. I removed fuel subsidy to protect unborn generation. That's coming from our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Don't you think it's ludicrous that 2 years down the line, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is here to accept that he had made a very big blunder and error with the removal of the fuel subsidy? Is he just doing this to maybe cover up for something he would have accepted, or he is correct about what he is talking about?
I'll just refer you to the 2025 budget. There's a provision for subsidy in the budget. So I keep wondering which subsidy they've removed. The EFCC says it's an offense to, sell or buy anything in Nigeria in any currency other than the naira. But yesterday, we had the NNPC had actually been selling crude to Dangote Refinery and others in a mix of naira and dollars. So why do we love deceiving ourselves in this country? The president says he removed fuel for the unborn. Who made you the guardian of the unborn generation? We are talking of the unborn generation, the existing generation that cannot find food to eat. You are talking of preparing for that's how they lie to the people. The same government has not been able to pay subsidy to the up and coming generation, the core members, since September last year. How many batches have passed through NYSC? And they were not paid. They are still being paid 33,000, is it 30,000 or so? Up till now. The same president who said that government has signed an order that the price of drugs should be reduced. Let me tell you, the price of drugs have gone up because NAFDAC has been raiding fake drug outlets across the nation. So the price of drugs have gone up. Then the same president tells you, that we've designated some hospitals, that dialysis, a kidney dialysis, instead of 50,000 naira per session, it will be 12,000. People went there this Monday, just yesterday, went to some of those, I don't want to name some places.
Are you still with us? Okay, we're still having a little
For when people sent reports that it was not true, that why they can continue to hoodwink Nigerians. Why do they think they can hoodwink Nigerians? All promises cancelled. APC, they make a promise in the morning, by evening it is cancelled. So I think Nigerian youth should be wary of all these their promises.
Yes, but do you think the president is aware of some of those things?
That.
Do you think the president is aware of some of those things happening? Because where he is, the problem with the president is connectivity. He finds it very difficult to commune with the people whom he said have voted for him. So do you think it's a fault of the lieutenants of the president, or is deliberate?
Like they say, everything rises and falls on leadership. The president is fully aware of everything that's happening. This president is well aware of the economic situation in the country. This president, there was a speech that was prepared for him at inauguration day on May 29, 2023. He went outside the speech and said subsidy is gone. It was deliberate. Why didn't he ask the speech handlers to put it in that document? Why? Why he should have asked his speech, but he refused because he had an agenda. Why do we have inflation? Inflation is because of excessive government spending. Simple. If government reduces its spending, inflation will drop. Why does the central bank continue hiking interest rates? Because the government is borrowing. It's borrowing internally, borrowing externally. So what does it do? It creates opportunities for people to invest in those debts, people to provide money, for those debts so that the government can borrow, So that's the simple definition of inflation and interest rates. This government has just been spending recklessly, talking about converting universities, state universities to federal universities. What is the funding plan? Exactly. How are you going to get these things funded? What of the ownership, change of ownership? Some of the lands on which some institutions were actually lands donated by communities, by families. Now you are taking them over. Are you going to pay compensation to the owners of those lands? So there are a lot of issues. But this government just reverses in populism. Just, okay, the people are hungry, right? Okay, give them rice. Flooding has overrun their farms. Give them rice. Maybe, they can't pay their children's school fees. Give them rice. And it's just a shame. It's a miasma. It's a sad situation. There is hardly any thinking in this government. And it's sad.
Very, very sad, Emeka. One would imagine that 2 years down the line, we would have at least started seeing great things coming from the president and his government. Unfortunately, what Nigerians have been laced with is poverty, is violence, is lots of other things that are just so unbearable to Nigerians. So very unfortunate. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being here. We really do appreciate you once more. All right, that's just about the time we have for this segment. And just to let you know, Emeka will be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. El-Rufai defects to SDP, vows to challenge Tinubu in 2027 as APC dismisses his ambition. That in a bit. Please don't go anywhere.